Hello and welcome to Wellbeing Warrior Monthly Live. It's 2019. I'm super excited to bring you this session on mindset, setting effective New Year's resolutions and planning your 2019. I hope you had a fabulous festive break, that you had some great surprises over that Christmas period. I know we certainly did, with the arrival of our beautiful daughter, Lily Abigail Mary Allen, who is hopefully sleeping at the moment with her daddy. It's been quite a hectic day today, so hopefully we'll be able to have a nice session without any interruption. So there is a disclaimer: if she does get fretful, I'm afraid I might have to cut the session short just to deal with Lily. Obviously she might need feeding, but I'm hoping that won't be the case. So this session is all about looking back on 2018, really celebrating your successes in 2018. And one of the big lessons that I learned from 2018 itself were these three things, really. First of all is the importance of your mindset for achieving a successful outcome despite the challenges that you may be facing. And I found that so important, not only throughout the year, but also when I went through labour towards the end of the year. Lily arrived on Christmas Day. The second thing is around setting effective New Year's resolutions and fulfilling them. And I'm going to bring some of the aspects that I teach in my online course, Plan for Success, into this session to really draw out some of the things that you can think about so that you are setting New Year's resolutions that you can adhere to, that you can achieve, and make sure that you have a really successful 2019. And with that in mind, we're going to use the material from a Plan for Success course to help you really set up 2019 to make it your most successful year ever. And we'll be drawing back on what you've learned from 2018 to really bring those lessons forward into 2019. So if you haven't already, do make sure you download there's 2 free downloads in this session today. On the right hand side, one is Reflecting and Learning. It's a yearly reflection and learning worksheet, which I'm going to talk through, and also the 2019 plan on a page. So do make sure you've got those to hand, plus a pen, a paper, a nice quiet space, and a drink of your favourite beverage. So part one of this session, as I said, is about mindset, and this is really around framing your mind, framing your thoughts, framing how you view the world to make sure that you can really effectively tackle any challenges that come your way and have a positive and confident outlook when those challenges do come towards you. And that will really help you make sure that you are setting yourself up for success, to work through those challenges, to honour the struggle of those challenges, to fight through and get through the other side. Next is we're going to talk about how to really effectively set and fulfil your New Year's resolutions. And as I said, finally, it's about really thinking about what you're going to do for 2019. What are your goals? What are your dreams? And how can you plan for success? And what I've got with me today is my 2018 planner. And I've been reflecting on that, and I'll talk through a few things that came out as lessons learned as part of that reflection piece. So, mindset. A couple of sessions ago, I talked about the importance of the well-being warrior mindset, and this is really fundamental. So I want to reflect back on that before we dive into the new mnemonic that you can use to really think about your mind and how you can have the right mindset for facing any challenges. So if we go through the mindset piece, do make sure you write this down. The first is making sure that you really have a maintenance mindset. So a well-being warrior, as I like to define, somebody who thinks about their emotional, the physical, the mental, and their spiritual health, as well as understanding their biological makeup that makes up you. And it's really putting the maintenance of yourself first and foremost. So thinking about what do you need to do to make your brain run effectively. So if we think about our brain is the engine of our body, are you putting the right things into your brain? Do you have that maintenance mindset? Do you care enough about your brain to make sure that you can function effectively, not just for the short term, but for the long term? And it's important in that respect that we think about what our goals are as well, what our purpose is in life, or that we live purposefully, so that we're really focusing on how we can optimize ourselves and our brains to stick in with that maintenance mindset so that we're really able to function over the long term. The next is having the insight to better understand what is it that makes you tick, what is it that causes you to have the feelings that you have, the emotions that you have in your life, what is it that you're doing physically, so your actions that are affecting how you're showing up. So understanding those, understanding your thoughts, how you're thinking, how they're affecting your emotions, how they're affecting your actions, understanding your connection with others and your connection to yourself, your purpose, your values and beliefs, and also understanding how your surroundings really affect how you show up. This is really having that well-informed insight into what really makes you tick, what makes you work effectively, and how you can really optimize your performance. Next up is understanding, with that in mind, with the maintenance mindset, with the insight in knowing what is important for you, what works and what doesn't work, is understanding the effect of nutrition on your health and well-being. There's some great books out. I've just got the book by Dr. Daniel Amen, Feel Better Fast, Make It Last, which I haven't actually yet read, but looks really exciting. It's a slightly different configuration from the Memory Rescue book and Change Your Brain, Change Your Life, which he also wrote. Next is drink. Again, thinking back to nutrition, making sure that you are staying hydrated. Your brain can significantly decrease in performance if you are dehydrated by up to 30%. If you don't have sufficient hydration of your brain. So really important to understand what you're drinking and making sure that you're drinking the right fluids to support your brain health. Next, super important, stress management. And this will come a little bit into the think mnemonic to help you think about how can you better manage stress. And this includes making sure you get enough sleep, making sure that you understand your automatic negative thoughts, which we'll go into in a little bit, but you can look at previous sessions to go into that in more detail. Those were the thoughts that appear in our mind and really change how we show up physically and mentally, that we are making sure our surroundings are optimized and not causing us any additional stress. Typical example here was me in a workplace environment that actually was sucking the life out of me a couple of years ago, and realizing that environment, those surroundings were not serving me well. So making sure that you're managing your stress levels, not artificially inducing stress unnecessarily for yourself, and that you're optimizing your environment to make sure that that is kept to a minimum. And that will also come into the planning for success that we'll talk about a bit later. Next is exercise. Now, it's been really difficult for me to do exercise in the latter part of pregnancy. I've recently weighed myself after giving birth and I'm 68.2 kilograms. That means nothing to me, probably means nothing to you. But the key thing is I know what my weight is. I know what I want to get back to, which is my optimal weight, which is just around 61.4 kilograms. And that's the weight I was when I fell pregnant. Yay! And so I know that what my target is, I know where I'm at, and I can work up an exercise regime to make sure I get back to my optimal weight. So what exercises are you doing? For me personally at the moment, it's trying to do as much walking as possible because I can't do much else until I'm fully fit in 6 weeks' time. But then I'll be able to ramp it up and really focus on getting my core strength back, losing the weight that I need to lose, which will be about 7 kilograms. But it's not as bad as I thought it would be, because throughout my pregnancy, I've focused on all of these things here: nutrition and drink, understanding the importance of maintaining my body, having the insight into what was important. And that then obviously allowed me to manage my weight and make sure that I did enough exercise to have a successful delivery as I could hope for. And the final one is T is for time, is allocating yourself enough time to make sure that you can do all of these things, do the exercise that is important, manage your stress levels, taking time out for you. And if you get all of this right, then you'll really be in a much better baseline to manage your mindset on a day-to-day basis, to make sure that you're really able to frame life's challenges in a much more positive and confident way, so that you can achieve the outcome that you want to, and not let your mind take control of you, but you're in control of it. So there's two things that we can think about in terms of our mindset. So they talk a lot about this in psychology, is there's two types of mindset they think about. The first one is having a growth mindset, that is having a really positive outlook, acknowledging that you need to learn, acknowledging that life is a journey of experiences and that you have to keep pushing the envelope, pushing the challenges, accepting that stuff is going to be hard in order to grow. That's a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, where you think that stuff isn't possible, that I can't do it. You have a very negative outlook on life. You think that stuff is not achievable for you, that maybe it's because somebody's better than you, maybe because you don't have the talent, and you don't think about how you personally can take control of your mindset, how you can help yourself grow, how you can stretch beyond your own existing limitations. So never let your existing limitations define your future opportunities, because we can always grow, we can always learn and expand our capabilities. So what we really want to do is have a growth mindset, and this is around making sure that we're really focused on learning, on growth, on not limiting ourselves by our current potential, but looking at our future potential and how we can really unlock and harness it. So how do we really frame our mindset so we can accept and take control of the challenges that come our way, so that we can really look at those challenges in a positive light and have a positive outlook at the end of it? And the way I like to reflect on this is thinking about when I was going through my pregnancy and also in the run-up to giving birth, is I was really focused and using positive hypnotherapy on looking at how can I make my mind get in a place where I know it's going to be probably the most challenging thing I've ever gone through in my life. How can I use my previous experiences that I've had in all parts of life, from adventurous training, from struggles I had in the workplace, from experiences I've had abroad. How can I bring all of that together and really use those learning experiences that have strengthened me and given me resilience, so that I can be resilient during my labour? So if you're thinking about a challenge that's coming up in the future, think about the lessons that you've learned, the struggles that you've been through, and draw strength from those struggles so that you can use that strength and bring that into the challenge you're about to face, so that you can really focus on looking at the resilient part of yourself and focus on bringing the positive experience into it, and knowing that you are strong, you are capable, you can achieve it. So the first thing I'd like to think about in terms of how do we frame life's challenges is thinking about our thoughts. So when you are faced with a challenge, what I'd like you to think about is writing down all the thoughts that you have around the challenge that's ahead of you. So have it, I feel, I think, write those down, all the negative thoughts, all the positive thoughts, anything that comes into your head. What is your perception of the challenge that is coming up? And when you come up with a negative thought, I want you to challenge those negative thoughts. And what I did here is, if we look at the challenge of labour, is looked at all of the possibilities that were available to me in terms of what it was going to be like, because I didn't know what it was going to be like, and thought about what is it that was most important to me, what is it I wanted to experience from a positive perspective, what is it I wanted to achieve as an outcome. And for me, the outcome that I wanted was a positive experience, a healthy baby and a healthy me, and that's exactly what I achieved. I didn't know how exactly I was going to get there. I didn't know, obviously would have liked to have a natural birth. That unfortunately didn't happen, but I looked at all of the possibilities. So I really got into my mindset and thought about what is it that could happen and how would I like it to happen in each of those scenarios. So the second thing to think about is, what is it that will make you happy? What is it that will bring you joy throughout that journey to get through the challenge, to get to your end goal? What is it that you're looking forward to? So we knew that we were going to have the baby sometime around the Christmas period. Actually, Lily arrived on Christmas Day, but I really knew that what was important to me was having a positive playlist. So I had Christmas jingles, 9 hours worth of Christmas jingles, which was awesome because we were in hospital for 4 days. So I was really grateful we had 9 hours of that. Other things that would bring me happiness was some of my favourite foods over the Christmas period. So we definitely had loads of mince pies. No, it's not necessarily the healthiest thing. Definitely needed the energy to keep going. And lots of oranges, loads of packed full of vitamin C, lots of drink available to us to keep ourselves going. So think about when you're coming up with a challenge, what is it within that journey, the challenge that you're going to go through will really bring you joy. Make sure that you have that on tap in abundance. Next is looking at the whole journey. So having the insight into, this comes back to the insight we talked about earlier, but really having the insight into the journey, the challenge that you're going to go through. And I spent a lot of time looking at this, looking at all the different options in terms of how the labour might pan out, what all of the different alternatives were. So rather than having I must have a plan that is A, B, C, D, E, I was aware that there were certain aspects of labour that could or could not happen. And I looked at all of those to make sure that I was going to have a positive experience, irrespective of what the actual process was going to be. So if you're climbing a mountain, for example, you may have a plan to go up a certain path, but look at all of the paths that might get you to the top of the mountain, and be aware that the weather might change. It might not be practical to go up your preferred path. You might have to take an easier route. You might have to take a slightly harder route to get away from perhaps some really bad weather that's coming in, or some high winds, so you're off the high slopes and not going to be buffeted by the wind. So when you are planning your journey or looking at a challenge, look at all of the aspects of that challenge and make sure you're aware of all of those. This is kind of looking at the risks. Aware of all of the risks, aware of what might change, aware of how your plan might fall over, that you really have that deep insight into it. And so you're prepared for it. So you can go back and go, okay, if this challenge is going to result in me having to do this, then I'm ready for it, because I know that I'm going to get joy from that aspect of the journey. So if I think back to taking my mum up a mountain last year, we had all sorts of ideas as to what the best way to go up would be, what the best way to come down was. We actually changed it at the top in terms of our descent route, based on how everybody was feeling, how everyone was performing. And we really thought about, okay, how can we still bring fun into the descent, because descent's not always the nicest thing to do, so that they can keep going, keep motivated, keep happy, making sure we had enough, coming back to nutrition and drink, to make sure that everybody had enough energy inside of them to keep going when they're got tough. So it's really important to make sure when you're planning that journey, when you're planning your challenge, you have that deep insight into the challenges that are going to come your way. Next, thought processes. So this is around your mindset. So look at all of the negative aspects that come into your head. So any negative thoughts that you might have around the experience, the challenge that you're about to face. So I wanted to do everything possible to avoid going into a medical intervention. And what happened as part of giving birth is we had a lot of medical intervention. Rather than looking at it negatively, we decided to consider it as the Bush Tucker trial of medical intervention, like I'm a celebrity, get me out of here jungle experience. And so rather than seeing the medical intervention as a negative aspect, we embraced it as a positive thing, because there was really nothing we could do specifically about it. And so we reframed those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. So I want you to think about all of the things that your brain is telling you, those thoughts, the automatic negative thoughts, they're called by the Amen clinics, that pop into your head around the challenge that is coming up. I can't do it. People will think I'm incapable. Any of those negative thoughts, and challenge those negative thoughts. So first of all, you really need to write them all down and really eradicate them. And that comes on to the final one, which is when you're trying to get into the right mindset, use the mnemonic think. And K, the last one, is kill the ants, the automatic negative thoughts. Kill those thoughts that really affect your physical and mental health. The thoughts that I can't do it, I'm not capable enough, people will think I'm X, Y, Z, blaming other people. There's a whole host of different automatic negative thoughts. If you go back to the previous session, make sure you write those thoughts down, make sure you categorize them by the type of ant that they are, that you challenge them and you eradicate them, and they don't really come into play when you're going through your thought process in terms of facing the challenges that are coming up. So mindset, frame life's challenges positively and confidently by really looking at the mnemonic think. First of all, looking at your thoughts around the challenge that's coming up, what will bring you joy, the happy thoughts that are necessary for you to get through that challenge, the happy thoughts through that journey, having that deep insight in what's going to come up from your journey and how you can really plan for it, dealing with negativity and negative thoughts, and finally killing those automatic negative thoughts. That really help you make sure you have that growth mindset versus the fixed one. So in this session, I really want to talk about how can you really set effective New Year's resolutions and fulfill them as well. And in this instance, what I want you to think about is New Year's resolutions. Typically, we set them because we feel that we failed on a previous year. I want you to look at setting effective goals, not so much resolving to fix things, but set goals for yourself for the year. So what I want you to think about is goals that are important to you. And secondly, is to look at the benefits extension of those goals that you set. So goals that not only benefit you, but how will they benefit your partner, your family? How will they affect other people, your community? If you fulfill that goal, what benefit will it bring to others more than just yourself? And the reason that's really important is because it allows us to look at a goal beyond just us, and it becomes more important for us to achieve it than just thinking of it as a singular goal for me and me alone. So when you're setting your New Year's resolutions, a good thing is to use the SMART acronym or mnemonic when you're setting New Year's resolutions. And this is typically setting simple goals, but I don't want you to just set the simple goal. I want you to set stretch goals. Why do we set stretch goals? Because if we don't stretch ourselves, we're never going to grow, going back to that growth mindset. So simple is fine. That's what you should be doing to get yourself on the path to achieving your dreams. Simple, easy to do steps, but make sure you also set a stretch goal that pushes you out of your comfort zone into that learning zone. Measurable. Really important that you have something to measure yourself against, whether that's a simple or a stretch goal, that you really see how you're performing throughout the year. And in this instance, as I said earlier, my goal is to get back to my optimal weight, 61.4 kilograms. I've already measured my weight, 68.2 or 4, I think it was. So I know how I'm going to be performing over the year in terms of reaching that target. Achievable. So important to make sure those goals are achievable, so you're not setting yourself up for failure. But at the same time, when we're setting stretch targets, we need to think about having ambitious goals as well. So make sure you've got an element of ambition in there that really pushes the envelope again. Next is making sure that those goals are realistic. Now, don't let your current situation define your future potential. So when we're talking about realistic, we need to have an element of flexibility here to help us push beyond our comfort zone. So it should be realistic if you talk to other people, realistic in the whole scheme of things. Now, you might not think climbing a mountain, if you've never done it before, is realistic, but find the people that are going to help you achieve those goals, that are really going to help you realise your dreams. And timely. So this is around setting a time frame in which you want to achieve it and looking at those steps that you need to take in order to achieve your goals and dreams, set those resolutions for this year. And one of the things that I talk about in terms of New Year's resolutions is making sure that we calendarize those New Year's resolutions. So think about putting those activities in your diary to make sure that they're there for you to see. You set up reminders for yourself and you can really look at the progress that you're making. Communicate. So communicate your New Year's resolutions. Let other people know what you plan to do. This goes back to benefits extension. So as soon as you announce to people what you're planning to do, kind of committed yourself to it. Let other people know that's your plan, that's your resolution for yourself, rather than harboring it in for yourself. And it makes it much more likely that you're going to achieve it because you've told other people that's what you plan to do. This is really around, if you look at benefits extension, it's around letting the wider community know so that they'll actually conversely benefit you. So really communicate what you plan to do. Take the time to sit down with the person that's most important to you, sit down with your family or with your community, whoever it happens to be, and share what you're planning to do for the year so that they can get involved and also help and support you in your New Year's resolutions. And finally is consistency. So this is making sure that you do what you say you're going to do and do it on a consistent basis. So if you're planning to lose weight for this year, which obviously I'm planning to do, then set yourself up with a weekly or a daily reminder so that you can really get on that bandwagon and be consistent about your exercise regime, be consistent about your stretching regime, so you can really help yourself achieve those goals, achieve those New Year's resolutions. It's really important when you set your New Year's resolutions that you take the time to think about them, that you take the time to make sure that they're smart, that you make sure that they're really something that is important to you, and that you recognise the benefit that that activity or that goal will have, not only just yourself, your health and well-being. So if you're losing weight, for example, if I think about the weight I'm planning to lose, it's not only going to benefit me, it's going to benefit my husband, it's going to benefit Lily because she's going to have a mum who's much fitter. All of the chemicals that are in my body, all of the hormones, oxytocin, neurotransmitters, everything that's going on in my body will be transmitted to Lily's through breastfeeding. So it's important that I focus on optimizing my health and well-being so that she has the best start that she can have as well. And similarly, if you're hoping to lose weight for other members of your family, then think about the benefit that will bring to them, make you more mobile, make you more agile, make you much more able to support other people. So look at that from a benefits extension perspective, and that'll make you much more committed to those New Year's resolutions. So with that in mind, I want you to take the time now to think about what are your top 3 goals or resolutions for this year. What do you want to do more of this year that perhaps you didn't manage to do last year? So for me, my top 3 goals, I want to finish the book that I've started writing, Hope to Happiness, about my experience in the corporate world and how I went from a place of hope, hoping that things will get better, to a brilliant place of happiness with a new daughter. That's the first thing I want to do, is hoping to do it last year, but unfortunately creating a family got in the way. That was the one thing I didn't manage to achieve. The next thing I'm hoping to do this year is to build my Wellbeing Warrior Academy and really grow my students from both an adult perspective and children perspective. We've started Wellbeing Warrior coaching for children now with parents to help them get into that Wellbeing Warrior mindset I talked about earlier. And with that, I'll be running a live event, hopefully in June, to help people really get into that right mindset to go through the Wellbeing Warrior framework I have, really help them improve their brain health. And finally, what I really want to do is complete my brain health coach training with the Amen clinics, and that's what I plan to do for this quarter. And those are my New Year's resolutions, but I really also want to get myself back to full fitness, and so that's a long-term goal over this year, and I will do that by the end of this year with Lily's help, I'm sure, as I get out and about. So what are your New Year's resolutions? What is it you're going to do? I mentioned 4 there. What are the 3 things that you want to achieve for this year that perhaps you didn't do last year, and are really going to stretch you? So simple one for me, as I said, was the health, the weight loss. I know I've done it before. I know it's achievable. I did it in 7 months 2 years ago. I know I can do it again. My stretch goal is to write the book. That's going to be a real stretch goal. Measurable, all measurable in terms of how I can monitor progress. I can monitor book progress by the number of chapters. I can monitor my coaching progress, train to become a brain health coach by the number of lessons that I've completed. And I can also monitor my progress in terms of my weight by my weight loss by my weight. Achievable and ambitious, I've definitely got those in there. Is it realistic? Yes, it is. If I put my mind to it, can I do it in a timely manner? Yes, I can. Benefits extension, it will serve me first and foremost, and also there's lots of benefits for both my family and for the community. So that definitely ticks it all. Calendarize, it's put in my calendar, communicated, I've done it here and now. And will I be consistent? That is definitely the plan. And I know I can do it. As I said, I've been consistent before. So make sure when you set your New Year's resolutions, you've got all of those in place. Do write down your SMART mnemonic to make sure that it's simple and stretch, measurable, achievable, ambitious, realistic, and timely. So now into planning for 2019. You should have a free download, which is a 2019 one-page yearly planner. And this is a great tool that I've used last year, and I've got it in my Plan for Success course to make sure that you really think about what is most important to you for the year. There's also a free download on the right-hand side, yearly reflection and learning, which we're going to go through first. And there's 2 sides to it. So if we just talk through that now. So planning your 2019, the first thing that's most important to do is reflect on 2018. Now, I did my 2018 plan. This is my plan on the page for 2018. Some of the things didn't happen exactly when I expected them to. So plan never normally survives first contact, but having a plan is the most important thing first and foremost. But if I look at my 2018 plan on a page, my objective was to develop a Hope to Happiness course, which I did do. It's called How to Be Happy, and I also did film a short course which is free and available from youwillchangetheworld.com, and that is called Hope to Happiness. It's a free 5 session course on how you can move from a place of hope to a place of happiness. You can also buy my How to Be Happy course from the same website. So that was done in totality. My second project of the year, my second goal for the year, was to develop my Plan for Success course. That was achieved as well. That went live in July, I think it went live as the pilot scheme. It's now up in its full state from January. So that is my Plan for Success course. And the third thing that I really wanted to achieve was to get promotion in my extracurricular role within the military, and that was achieved as well. So those were the three things that I planned to do, and that was all out in my 2018 planner. So the thing to do here is, if you reflect on 2018, now you can use this reflection worksheet. Is first thing is to think about, how do you feel when you're doing this piece of reflection? Because that can, we go back to the mindset I talked about earlier, can really affect how you write your reflection and learning page. So think about the activities you had planned for the year. What did you plan to do in the year? And secondly, what have you actually achieved in the year, based on not only the things that you planned, but the things that you did in addition to your plan. So I did quite a little bit more than those three things. I also launched my Wellbeing Warrior Academy Junior Yellow Belt course for kids aged between 6 and 10, so that they can learn how to become wellbeing warriors and earn their yellow belt. So that was an additional activity. I also had my coaching advent calendar that went live in December. That was from last year. I didn't have the opportunity to film for this year because I didn't know when Lily was going to arrive. So that also went live in December, and that was free. It was going to be a paid one, but it was free in the end. Plus a whole host of other things that I did, as well as my one-on-one coaching. So next is, think about all of your achievements that you've had for the year. So I know it was great to help my dad as well produce his first ever children's book, which is now going out with the publishers to be coming out this month. So think about all of your success stories and how that's benefited other people as well as yourselves. Then we look at the thoughts, feelings and emotions that helped you really achieve those, and that's really key to help you plan for success in 2019, because if you know things really helped you achieve those goals and dreams that you set yourself for 2018, then let's have some more of that in 2019. Then what held you back? So going back to the Wellbeing Warrior mindset, what thoughts, feelings and emotions held you back? And how can you minimize those, or how can you avoid having those thoughts and feelings in the first place, killing those ants? What things really distracted you from achieving your intended activities? And what were your key learning points? So my key learning points was not bite off more than you can chew, so do things incrementally. I definitely tried to pack in too many courses last year, and I should have just focused on one course and done that with my full attention. Other learning points, there are quite a few, is allowing myself enough time to build aspects of my course, not trying to do it too quickly. And that everything just takes time when you're not familiar with what you need to do. So allow yourself twice as much time as you think you need to in order to get through that learning phase. So what are the key learning points for you? So really use that to reflect on last year. Grab your calendar that may be used in the kitchen, or grab your phone if you've got the activities you achieved in the period. Now, I know last year was super important for me to allocate holiday time, and we did achieve some of that holiday time. The one that we allocated for the summer to go to the Dolomites climbing, unfortunately, couldn't happen because I was pregnant, but we also managed to have some additional holiday time before Lily arrived. So next thing is look at your goals and dreams for this year. So I've talked about my 4 goals and dreams for this year. What are they for you? What are the top 3 things you want to accomplish for this year? And when you download this yearly planner, make sure you write down those 3 things that you want to accomplish in the descriptors on the bottom. Follow the instructions on the bottom left-hand corner. Make sure you allocate the time that's most important to you and your family. Put in your holiday time first. Don't let your community commitments overwhelm you and take over, making sure you have that most important downtime for you and the ones that you love. So make sure you put those events in first. What learning you really want to do in the year. So as I said, my focus is on becoming a brain health coach. That's my focus for the first quarter. Your key moves and milestones for each goal, each project that you're setting yourself, making sure that you're clear about what those key steps are. So if we think about this is us on our journey for the year, we want to achieve something that perhaps we didn't feel was possible. We have a certain dream or a goal for the year. Values and beliefs are important in terms of how we frame our mindset as we go on that journey. Here is 2018, this is 2019. We have 12 months in the year, 4 quarters, so we can break it down by that. Look at the steps that you need to take to go on your journey in 2019, the 5 key steps that are most important for you to accomplish your projects or your goals. So these are the goals that you've set yourself, and make sure you really define those out, those key moves, and you focus on the steps that you need to take to fulfill those key moves. So as I said, try not to bite off more than you can chew. Focus on the things that are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Plus, as I said, you've got those stretch goals and ambition thrown in as well, to make sure you're just not rumbling along as you have done previously, and really focusing on stretching yourself beyond your comfort zone. So take the time to fill this in, and you'll see at the top is define what your vision is, how you want to live purposefully. What is it you want to be remembered for? You want to achieve it as a one-liner for that year. And if you don't know what your purpose is, then the focus is to really live each day purposefully, so that you're doing whatever is necessary to make sure that your day is as successful as it can be. So the final thing on this one-page planner is you block your time that you want to take for all the particular activities. It's all there then on one page. And what I want you to write down in the bottom is the thoughts, the feelings and emotions and beliefs that you need to have in order to be successful for the year. And that comes back to the very first discussion on your mindset. If you looked at your reflection and learning sheet for the year, what is it that really helped you be successful? What thoughts did you have that helped you achieve your goals that you may have set yourself, or the activities that perhaps you didn't really set yourself but you accomplished anyway for the year? Making sure that you go into 2019 with that mindset, with that positive mindset, that you're really thinking about how you can frame your mindset to show up and be the best that you can be, and really have that successful 2019, kick it off to a good start, and make sure that you fulfill the goals and dreams that you set yourself for the year. So small steps, making sure that you work through that path. You know where you're going to be tripping up. You've got your milestones set for yourself, so you know where you're going on your journey, and that you really communicated that with those that are important to you. So sit with your partner and go through that one-page planner and get yourself planning for 2019. Get it out there, get it on that page. So if we reflect back on what we've talked about during this session, we talked about, first of all, having the right mindset, the Wellbeing Warrior mindset I went through. That's the baseline you really want to have in order to make sure that you're able to tackle life's challenges. Using that acronym THINK, the mnemonic THINK, to make sure that you're really thinking about how you can frame your mind to embrace the challenges with positivity and confidence. Setting your New Year's resolutions, looking at them as how you can achieve those goals that are really important to you, looking at making sure they're smart, but also that you have those stretch goals and there's some ambition in there as well. And when you're planning for 2019, sit down with your one-page planner, put your holidays in first, that's most important to you. Make sure you define those goals that you know that you want to do, looking at benefits extension, and look at how you can break them down into bite-sized chunks. So you've got really key steps that will move you forward through those goals, and block that time for yourself so that you can achieve them, looking at 3 key projects or key goals that you want to accomplish for the year, and certainly try not to do more than 2 in 1 quarter. I hope you enjoyed today's Wellbeing Warrior Monthly Live for 2019. I'll now go to my phone to see if there are any comments or questions. I know I finished slightly earlier than planned, but I can hear a little lady crying in the background, so I probably need to go and help with that. So if you have any comments or questions, please do make sure you post them now. I'm just looking at my app now. I can't see any at the moment. Oh yes, I can. Thank you very much, Paula Woodward. You are a wonderful example of what you teach. Thank you very much for that lovely comment. I hope you found the downloads very useful. Do take the time to go through those with your other half and make sure that you are clear on what your goals are together, so that you can really set yourselves up for success in 2019. And I certainly know that I'm going to be using that planner with my dad to look at how we can set ourselves up for success for Peter Pixie and Paula Pixie Adventures, and the launch of his new book, Peter Pixie Visits the Rescue Centre, this month. So if you want to get a copy of that, do visit peterandpaulapixie.com, where you can pre-order the book now. So without further ado, I'm wishing you a very happy new year. I hope you had a fantastic festive break and had lots of wonderful gifts over the Christmas period. We certainly had the best Christmas present ever, and that you really set yourself up for success in 2019 so that you can make it your best year yet, and use those tools that we talked about and the techniques I've been through today to make sure that you are planning for success in 2019. I look forward to talking to you next month, and I'll release further information as to what I'm going to focus on then, but I think it's most likely going to be around courage, confidence and commitment. Until then, have a great month.